Hey everybody, it's Jim Johnson here, head coach at Contractor Coach Pro and your host with Contractor Radio. And we have a special broadcast today. Normally we record these and put them out there on YouTube and Facebook and our podcast channels and that kind of stuff. But today we're going to go live because we've got some of the most impactful leaders in our industry that are doing something that they're amazingly passionate about. And we've been watching what they're doing, and we wanted to help out. And for those of you that don't know, they run this roofers in recovery thing, helping folks in the roofing industry that have substance and alcohol abuse issues. And I thought it was something that was something that people wouldn't normally do, like setting up this thing to help others and really not receiving any kind of financial benefit. It doesn't really go well with us as contractors and what we do. We want to make a bunch of money and do all that kind of stuff. But they have some really strong reasons and some really strong passion behind this. And I thought it was worth doing some things to help them out. And so we're doing this event called Top Rep Sales Training. And we thought, hey, if we're going to do this event, why don't we help roofers in recovery? And we'll do a little giveaway. And what we're doing is we're giving away a Traeger grill. It's a raffle. That raffle is $20 to buy a ticket. You can get 6 tickets for $100. And we're going to put all the names into one of those spinny things, and we're going to draw one out. And somebody's going to win a Traeger Pro Series. Of course, it's a Pro Series. We're Contractor Coach Pro. And Wi-Fi and all that other good stuff grill. And we're going to raise a bunch of money for roofers in recovery because we believe strongly in their mission and what they're doing. So we want to talk to them today. They called us and said, hey, let's meet. And we met. They're like, how can we help out? And I thought one of the best ways that we could help out with this was to bring them on and talk about what Roofers in Recovery is doing and the mission they're on and how people could get involved. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring on our amazing guest today. We've got with us Paul Reed and Eric Oberembt. Did I say it right, Eric? Did I get it?
Nah.
I don't think anybody pronounces that name correctly. How do you say it?
Oberembt.
Oberembt. Got it that time?
Yep.
I thought just the cough you did was how you pronounce it. So
that is exactly how most people do it. They go, Eric, and then that's just kind of
it. Perfect. And Paul, welcome to the show. Appreciate you guys being here. We were trying to get Jonathan Sherwood on. He is also one of the 3 key players in what's going on at Roofers in Recovery. Unfortunately, he was having some internet technical difficulties because he's Jonathan Sherwood. He's always in his truck. He's always doing something, helping out other roofers. And so he was unable to join us, but we'll see him again in the future. So Paul, was this your idea, this whole Roofers in Recovery thing? Like, tell me how it all came about.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Jim. First off, thank you for getting us on here today. Really appreciate this and the support you guys at Roofing Contractor Pro have really been with us. Listen, we started that, so it's no secret that I've been over coming up on 14 years, and Eric is believing coming up on 13, and Jonathan's got some time as well. And it was really kind of a vision I really had for 5 or 6 years of how can I give back to the industry, because I'm really looking at like I'm a blessed man that I got a second chance really by God to allow me to get sober and get successes and things I've had in my life. And there's part of AA in the big book that we have that talks about you can't keep what you have unless you're willing to freely get back. And so that's kind of a motto that we try to live on. And so one of my ideas, years ago was maybe I could open some sober living houses and, and eventually kind of got to the point of like, maybe I could do a scholarship. And then really then meeting with Eric one day, we kind of started talking about, maybe we could do a foundation and start a 501c3 and start this Roofers in Recovery. So really kind of started from there of us just really knowing that in order for us to kind of keep what we have, we got to be able to willing to give it back.
So yeah, that's kind of a big thing with AA is kind of go through the program, and a lot of those folks, the way they give back is to be sponsors, right? They sponsor guys that are coming into the program and support them, and you're like, I can't just do that. I got to like help a bunch of people. So this is pretty cool what you guys are doing. And who are you with, Paul? Like, just let everybody know the company you're with and the role you play in that company.
So one of the owners at Northwest Roofing here in Denver, obviously, and we also do store into the new era. But it's interesting, Eric and I were talking a few months ago that we almost introduced ourselves more with the roofers in recovery than we even do with our own companies anymore. So it's become a huge passion for us to do. And, I think one other thing I'm going to add of why we really wanted to get that out there was there is kind of a stigma, from someone that's recovering from alcohol or addiction of any type of drug, that like, oh my gosh, that's, look at that person, that's an awful person. We wanted to just kind of stand up and, with our platforms, and we've been around for a long time, we want to stand up and say, hey, there's a way to recover and there's a way to have success, even though if these things have happened in your life. So that's really another reason I wanted to bring that up of why we're doing this, is to stand up and say, hey, you might have been down right now or in the past, but there's another path, and, look at what the stuff we're doing, and let's go.
Yeah. It's one of those things, like, I think we all have something like this, right? There's something that's in our past, we hope, or maybe even we're dealing with today, that we don't broadcast, right? There's a stigma that goes along with it, and alcohol and drugs has that associated with it. Like, if we've had those problems, we almost like don't want to tell anybody, right? Like, we try to keep that in the closet back there. It's a skeleton. We don't want anybody to know about it. But then whenever it comes out later, because invariably it's going to come out, people are like, well, can I believe everything else the guy says, right? And there's also the stigma that anybody that's had that kind of an issue is a bad person, right? And that's not necessarily the case, right? Eric, tell us a little bit about your involvement. Why are you involved? Who you're with? Let everybody know who you are.
Yeah, thank you, Jim. Again, thank you for having us. This is obviously a big deal and super important to us. I own D&M Roofing here in Omaha. Owned this for a long time and been in the business for a while. A while back, Paul talked about it, and so not to tell the same story, but we met and kind of became friends a few years ago, and found out that we had a lot in common. Just in history and roofing and other items, right? And so we kind of started connecting on that and wanted to figure out a way to, like I say, to give back, and couldn't really figure it out right away. And then I remember we had just a bunch of quick phone calls and being like, well, could we do this? Could we do that? Could we, whatever it is. And then one day he called and said, hey, let's do a foundation. Let's figure out how to send people to treatment. Because what we realized was, for us, and this isn't everybody, but for us, our lives were saved. My life was saved because I got the opportunity to go to a treatment center, and I got to live in that bubble for 30 days, whatever it is, where I was just submersed into recovery, and I didn't have a bunch of outside influences that I was having to deal with. So I wasn't having to deal with work issues or family issues or whatever. Like, we all still have that running in our head, but I was there to focus on the one thing, and the one thing was recovery. And we realized that not a lot of people get the opportunity to do that because it's expensive, and there's, not everybody has insurance that covers it. And also, to Paul's point, people don't want to talk about it. And so when we got the opportunity to come up with this foundation, we wanted, kind of the mission of it was to be able to send people to treatment to get that help, and then be able to, come home and have the support from other people in the group, in the industry. And then, kind of to your point earlier, what it's really morphed into is that we've got this really neat community of people that have gotten to know each other, And there's one thing that we all talk about with alcoholism or drug abuse or whatever, is that people that are in that world and have lived that world, we're the only ones that really get it. So we can sit here and have this conversation, and you can ask questions, and you want to have knowledge and, try to understand where we were, where we came from, how we got there, and how we got where we are now. But only another alcoholic or another drug addict really gets what we've been through. And it's hard to explain it to a normal person, right? It's really hard to explain that. And so I think that the people out there that were maybe scared to talk about it before, they let their guard down a little bit when they see me, Paul, and John, and some of the other guys out there talking about it, and they know that we get them and that we understand what they're going through more so than somebody that hasn't been through that before. And I think that maybe gives them the courage, because it takes a lot of courage to make that phone call, and it gives them the courage to call one of us and ask for help, because asking for help for guys in this industry, that's an alpha-oriented, industry of a bunch of men, generally speaking. Like, we've got women in Roofers in Recovery as well, but, the numbers are the numbers, and it's just an alpha-oriented male industry. Nobody wants to ask for help. And that's why we're here, is so that we can answer the phone when somebody calls and asks for help.
So that's interesting, because it was one of the questions I had for you. Like you called me a normal person. I don't know if that applies necessarily, but I haven't had these issues, so I can't understand. I haven't walked in your shoes before, and I have a big appreciation for being able to have a conversation with people that have walked in your shoes before. And so I see the value in that. One of the questions I had, because as you look at this industry, and if you're any on Facebook or social media or all that stuff, you see it all the time. The talking about drugs, the hey, let's go have a beer, the man, I'm hungover today, especially in like the really rough roofers groups. And I wonder if those aren't really like cries for help in part. And secondly, do people really want the help? It's just the alpha part keeping them from doing it. Do you think that most of them want help?
Who knows, right? Like, not everybody needs recovery, right? And we don't sit here and preach and say that we think that everybody should stop drinking, or that, even somebody that's, but like people that are out there having a good time. If you're having a good time and it's not affecting your life and your family and your, everything that's close to you, then it doesn't apply. Right. But we're there to support the people that realize that there's something wrong and they want to get better. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Paul, kick in.
I think it's this sense of being mindful, right? Like being mindful of what it's doing to your life. Like, I can go have a couple of beers with my buddies and then not have a beer for 3 weeks.
But understanding the grips of addiction, it's pretty hard to be mindful.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely.
Well, a lot of people don't understand. They don't understand what's really happening. I know I lived for a long time, for many years, until it got, completely awful, and, mental hospitals and things like that. But for many years, where I just thought that was normal, where like that was just my life, and the people around me, that was just a life, and that's just what happened. And so I didn't personally know that there was another way to live. I just thought it was normal to, go do a roof and get a check for a couple $1,000s and go spend half of it on coke. Like that's what you did. And so I think what part of our mission is to get that message out there, for some of those people. Because like I was saying, that's great that you could drink. Like, that's fine that you could drink and smoke some weed on the weekend or whatever. Like, we lost our privilege to do that, because it got bad for us. But our mission is to get the word out there that, hey, if you choose, you may think that you have a problem, there is a solution, and we're here with it whenever you're ready. We're not trying to shove it down anybody's throats. And, we hang out with a lot of people that drink and don't care. That's fine.
So I have a question. Are there any signs that might be warning signs that you could share with the people watching today maybe it's a problem.
Absolutely. So to me, look, if you own a roofing company, right, or you're a top salesman or just a regular salesman, I think that any time that you miss work because you're too hungover or you're drunk or you're high or you go to work high, I absolutely think that, in my opinion, you definitely have a problem. Because I look at it like this, Jim, like our industry that we're in, it's a unique industry. Like, you don't have to be real smart or talented to make a lot of money in our industry. Like, that's just a fact. That's a fact. It's been proved a million times. But
you have to be smart to keep it, but not to make it.
Well, that's where the smartness comes in. But to me, if you are not able to perform your job because of drugs or alcohol, either being hungover constantly, leaving work at 3 o'clock to go drink, let's give us a call.
What about when it comes to family stuff? So that's a work-related thing. What about when it comes to family stuff? What's some of the warning signs there?
I think when you're not engaged with your kids at all. I know a great success story that we have from gentleman the company that he shared on our Tuesday night meeting the other night, and it was awesome. He was talking about how now over the last year and a half, like, it's important for him when he's home. It's all about his kids, and he hangs out with them. For many years before, when he got home, it was just like, hey, it's time for Dad to relax and smoke a joint and drink some beer because Dad's had a hard week and the kids better shut the hell up because you've been out providing for him. But now, like, all of a sudden the family is important to him. And so I think if you're missing family time, kids are hanging out with the guys and you're hanging at the shop too long, it's going to get into the family, which that's why we're doing all this, right, is for some our family and legacy generational things anyway.
That's how you change lives, right? That's how you change lives, is when you have families involved and you've got kids involved and you got wives and husbands, whatever. And when you get to help change a family dynamic that was poisonous, if you will, and you've got a constant battle at home, and if your main focus during the day, kind of to what Paul said, is how fast can I get done with whatever I'm doing so that I can go get high or I can go get drunk. If that is on the forefront of your mind more than I'm excited to go home and see my kids, or I'm excited to go home and spend time with the people that love me, maybe it's something that you need to think about. That's all.
What about families that have a history of alcoholism or drug abuse? Like, for example, my maternal or paternal father, he had that problem. I didn't know him hardly at all. Really only met him a couple of times in my life, but I know that was one of the things he was dealing with. And so that brought attention to it for me. And I do question myself a little more than maybe I would otherwise. Like, if I ever feel like I come home and I go, God, I had a hard day, I need a beer. Like, if that's the first thought that I'm having when I'm walking in the door, it's like, maybe I don't need that beer, right? And in my world, I'm able to control that. But I think a lot of people, do they have a predication maybe because of family history or example or any of that kind of stuff?
Absolutely. I know I did, right? Like, I know I did. I know it runs in my family. And so when Eric was talking about that, all I could think about was breaking a generational curse, and my mom, when I was a little kid, my mom used to tell me all the time, she had 8 uncles, and 7 of them died of an alcoholic death. Wow. And she warned me that, I got so sick of hearing my mom say that. Like, I was like, I don't even care. I was just so sick of my mom saying that, but it was true. Right. And so my family on my mom's side, my dad's side, all my cousins, I've got like 5 cousins that are in roofing that should all be in roofers and recovery with me. But, it's so when Eric spoke about that earlier, all I could think of was generational curse. And I think there is a lot to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My biggest blessing is that my daughter has never seen me drink and will never see me drink and act the way that I did in my past.
I was just going to say that. It's one of the things I noticed, like, because you told me how long it's been for Eric. It's been 13 years, right?
Yeah, I think I'm just a shade under 12. Yeah.
Okay. And your daughter, I think, is younger than that. Was she 8?
She's 6.
6? Oh, she okay. So 6 years old. So she's never seen that, and it's one of my favorite moments. And one of the few reasons why I enjoy Facebook every single Sunday is ice cream with his daughter. I think that is so cool. What a different trajectory she'll be on versus maybe what you were on from the example set to you. Like she'll treat her kids to ice cream. That'll be really cool. How are you guys hoping to impact this industry? I mean, there's Alcohol Anonymous. People can go to that, right? And they can join AA groups and that kind of stuff. How are you hoping to impact our world a little bit differently?
I think in our world, you know, we have meetings. So we have a recovery meeting every Tuesday night, and we started that during COVID because AA shut down. Didn't go to AA, but we started a recovery meeting every Tuesday night. And what I feel is pretty unique about ours, you know, it's a roofers in recovery. So when we get on, it's interesting. A lot of times when people share, they're talking about stuff that happened to them, you know, in roofing. You know, a crappy homeowner kept a check, and you know they wanted to drink because Smith owed them $8,000. And so, you know, our job, and we have a preamble that we wrote is, you know, we're not technically affiliated with AA. We're a roofers and recovery meeting that pushes people towards AA. You know, we're based off the 12-step principles like AA, but our biggest thing is to, you know, my ultimate goal is to kind of break that stigma of most people we don't realize it, but most people in the world, in the country, look at people that are in construction and especially roofing, that they're damn near all addicts or alcoholics. Like, that's just what's out there. Like, plumbers look down on us, you know, like we're horrible people because we're drunk alcoholics. And so, like, I have this weird thing in my head that we could get this out here and go, like, we're good people. And we've recovered, and we're good people now. So I had this crazy idea.
I always relate it to, like, we're somewhere between ditch digger and garbage man, somewhere in there. So it's like that's the perception of the consumer out there. But the cool thing about this industry, and one of the things that I've really enjoyed in the last, it's really kind of been about 5 or 6 years. We started to connect better. We started to get to know each other better, whether it's at an event. I don't think we lost Paul. I think his video just went out. Whether it's at an event, we've been more open and more willing to talk with each other, more willing to share with each other, and also a little bit more vulnerable. This idea that, hey, we're not all perfect, right? And realizing who we are, like how we're perceived by the consumer, but then looking at each other, and you look at each other and go, dude, that guy's really smart. Like, that guy, he's sharp. That guy has accomplished amazing things. That guy over there, boy, look at all the people he's impacted in his business and the lives he's changed. We have a lot more to be proud of, I think, than what the consumer out there perceives us to be. And what I see. Do you guys see the same thing at that change? Because you've been in it a while now. Paul, you've been in it as long as I think. Have you seen that change over the history of our industry?
I think we've 100% seen it. And I think, to your point, that it's not about us projecting it to a consumer. I think that we're very passionate about hoping that everybody in the industry sees it and knows that it's a different way to live, and it's a different way to do things. And to your point, that we can all help each other, right? We're not all competition. Right? Like, everything that we do that gives us an opportunity to raise the industry up, to just be better people and to be doing the next right thing every time, because that's definitely a stigma in this industry that is not what happens on the majority of people that own roofing companies, is that they're not always doing the next right. They're not. Paul and I were talking about in the car the other day, how many times we've had to write something off, right? Like, how many times we've had to write something off because we knew that it was the right, like it was the right thing to do. Even if it wasn't the right thing to do, even if we shouldn't have had to, right? We did it anyway. And there is no other trade in the world that does that, right? Plumbing, like to your point, plumbing doesn't write things off, because they're worried about something. Fence people don't write things off. You get a bill every time. And so
from the lawyer.
yeah, exactly. And so I think that I think our secondary idea, hopefully, is that as we raise awareness for this, it gives the opportunity for guys like, you and what you're trying to do in trying to raise the industry up to surround yourself with better people all the time. And then hopefully more and more people see that light and want to be part of that instead of part of the other spectrum, right? The other end of it.
Yeah, my whole mission in this whole thing is that to bring light to the fact that you can do it right, and it allows you to do it better. There are shortcuts, there are things like that you can make a bunch of money really quick and all that other good stuff, but it doesn't last very long. And you see so many people go out of business. And I'm sick and tired of watching 70 to 80% of contractors go out of business because they don't know how to run a business. They know how to sell or they know how to install. But running a business is a whole different animal, and we're trying to shed some light on that and help with that. I love what you guys are doing because the way you're doing it is bringing awareness to something that wasn't talked about very much. It was really quiet, and it's making it okay to talk about it. Like you can, hey, I like those guys in Roofers in Recovery. I mean, look at them. Look what they did. Like that's impressive, and they're willing to say it out loud. And that's the cool thing is, like, I have got more respect for the two of you and Jonathan Sherwood than I do a lot of other owners because you're vulnerable. You're willing to say, hey, life was crappy before, and this is why, but I got a handle on it, and look what it's done to change my life. I wanted to help you follow that same path if I can. And to me, that's what it's all about on this planet. Right.
And don't kid yourself. We got plenty of people that look at us too and go, "Oh, it's those goddamn sober roofers."
Okay, that's one.
I know we got plenty of those too, but we can't help everybody. So.
That's super funny. So let's remind everybody.
There's still.
Just real quick, we're kind of into this pretty good. Let's remind everybody that's watching right now. One of the reasons we're doing this is we're here to help raise money for Roofers in Recovery. We've got our event going on, Top Rep. It's a sales event that's going on. And if you go to toprepgiveaway.com, you can enter the raffle to win a free Traeger grill. It's a 570 Pro Series Wi-Fi badass Traeger easy bake oven. Just saying that to pick on people that use Traegers. I'm a stick burner, old fashioned guy, but it's a cool thing to give away. We didn't want to give away, a boring thing like another cooler or Yeti or any of that kind of stuff. It was like, hey, let's give away something that people really want to use. And it's another place to spend your time that maybe you could do that instead of having a beer or smoking a joint or whatever it is that you might want to do alternatively. It's an addiction, and I'm a proud person of that addiction, to be honest with you. So you guys probably see my posts and stuff on Facebook every once in a while. So that's why we're here. Anybody that goes and does that today, if you're interested in going to the Top Rep giveaway, you'll instantly get a $100 coupon towards Top Rep for your registration. And you'll have a chance to win that. You can get one ticket for $20 or 6 tickets, so an extra ticket for $100. So if you want to help out a bunch of roofers that are looking for help and a part of this Roofers in Recovery thing, we encourage you to go out there. You don't have to go to the event to help out with Roofers in Recovery, but if you do, we want to give you something special for that. So, guys, what's the best story that you've had from Roofers in Recovery?
Oh, I guess we kind of need to be a little bit careful about that.
Yeah, we don't have to say anybody's name. You don't have to say a name or a company.
I mean, we've had a couple of people that we've been able to have the opportunity to send to treatment that are absolutely flourishing and their lives are changing. And I know that probably the thing that Paul was maybe thinking of was, there was somebody that came to one of our very first meetings, like well over a year ago, and he is a large part of the group now, and helping people, and people look to him for some guidance now, and he has completely revolutionized and changed his life. I think every single one of those stories, I don't think one of them is better than the other. I think they're all miracles and they're all amazing, and getting the opportunity to watch that and feel like you had like that much to do with it is like that's more reward for me than anything else that we do.
Sounds like the coaching world. Watching you guys do some amazing things and knowing we don't have that much to do with it. You guys did all the hard work.
Right.
It's rewarding. It's enjoyable. Paul, I got a question for you.
I agree with that, Eric. I think. Yeah, go ahead.
So what was it, almost 2 years ago now, or a year and a half ago, you did Storm into the New Era, right? I can remember that event. I was on a wheelie deal coming in there because I had torn my Achilles.
Oh yeah.
It was the first event I did. It was 6 days after my surgery, and there was no way I was going to miss it because it was unique. It was different. It was more about the person than it was about the business, it seemed like to me. And I thought a lot of people spoke from the heart. They shared some stories that they maybe wouldn't have normally shared with folks, and they were actually pretty vulnerable. And out of that whole thing, did this Roofers in Recovery kind of come out of that? Was there some conversation there? Was it happening before? Was that kind of the connection of it? Because we do our contractor fellowship thing. I think you guys are aware of that, and that kind of came out of that. There was this, hey, there's a lot of guys here that are talking God, and I didn't realize that in our industry. And so I like to talk about God every once in a while too. So let's do this contractor fellowship thing. Did Roofers in Recovery kind of come out of that a little bit?
Yeah, it absolutely did. And I mean, just kind of touch on that. The reason we started Storm into the New Era, which we have another one, COVID really screwed us up. The venue we wanted to have it at this year was actually the Bible Museum in Washington, D.C. And it was just really having able to get pulled together because of some of the restrictions. But it means a lot to me to have it there. So we're eventually going to get it there, and we're going to bring it back. But the reason we started Storm into the New Era was because, we all go to a lot of the conferences. Like, we'll see each other tomorrow at RCAT, and that's a conference and one of the milder ones. But a lot of the larger, roofing conferences, there's a lot of bad stuff that goes on. There's a lot of great stuff that happens, but there's a lot of just debauchery, and that's fine. I'm not knocking it. Good for you that you do that. But there was a death, and another guy should have died. He fell off a 40-foot bridge. And so we just really thought that there needs to be another alternative, another option for guys and gals that want something else. And so that's what started the Storm into the New Era, which has kind of rolled the Roofers in Recovery out there. We just wanted to have somewhere, I don't want to use the word safe place because I hate that, but we wanted to have somewhere where you could go and you could be okay. Because I know a lot of guys that go to those conferences and they've been sober for a month or two, and they blow it when they get there, get around a bunch of people because they don't know what room to go to. And so we just want to be that alternative, and it doesn't mean that we don't have fun. I mean, if you can imagine to be with Eric and Jonathan and myself, we probably have more fun than anybody. So we want to provide that. We want to get that message out there that just because we're sober doesn't mean we're not fun and we don't laugh and have a really good time anymore.
Yeah, I don't associate the word safe place and Eric Oberempt anywhere. That's not the way I look at the world.
I'm going to use that quote. Yeah. I'm going to put that on a profile picture somewhere.
I wanted to bring that up, Paul, because I wanted to thank you. I wanted to thank you for putting that event together, for creating that dynamic that you guys did, because I think it springboarded a few different areas out there that are a little bit more human-centric than it is business-centric, and just wanted to give you a little bit of credit and a lot of thank you for that.
Paul, wasn't that where we had our first impromptu meeting?
Yes, it was.
Okay, yeah, I remember you texted me. You were like, "We should have a meeting at 6 a.m." I'm like, "Should we?" And then we, I was like, "Seems really early, but yeah, okay, let's do that." So we.
Well, it's because there's so many like VIP events and sponsored by whatever, by whoever, and it's at the bar, and I was just like, there's got to be a few people besides me and Eric that like want to go, and I think we had 12 or 15 people.
Yeah, the first day. Yeah, it was crazy.
I remember that. That was pretty awesome. And that's kind of what spurred it. I'm like, hey, let's just have a meeting. And, and you're like, oh, well, there's actually more people here than we thought there would be. Let's do this thing. That's cool.
They just kept coming.
So I'm a guy out there, and I'm questioning whether I have a problem or not. I'm not 100% sure. How do people get a hold of you? And do you take that kind of call? Like, I don't know if I have a problem, but I'd like to talk to somebody.
So the best way for everybody to reach us and to get a hold of us, Paul's very good about giving out his phone number. I don't know why he does that, but he's very good about giving out his phone number. But the best way to reach the group and get to us probably faster is to get on Facebook and check out our Facebook page. So we always need to be super clear about this now, but there's 2 Facebook pages. There's one that's a public page, so we can put information out there. And then one is a private page where we let people in after they apply, like Facebook groups are, right? And if you apply to the private group, if you look, that's the one with the goofy face on it. So if anybody's watching and they want to join that, apply to it and then get in there, and then you send messages and we'll get the messages. We'll go back and forth, and then that'll give us the opportunity to invite you to come to our meeting, to just get to know everybody. And I think personally that it's like, if you get that opportunity to listen to other people talk, it'll give you an opportunity to kind of look a little more inward, because it's not my job to tell you if you have a problem. It's not my job to tell you if you're an alcoholic. That's something that you have to figure out on your own. But if you surround yourself with other people of the same, mindset, maybe you'll get a little bit of insight onto whether maybe you think you do have a problem and maybe you need some help. And so we welcome everybody that is, like you said, even on the fence and is maybe wondering if they do. Come join the Facebook group, answer the questions. I'm the Facebook Nazi that lets people in and out. So if you don't get in, it's because you didn't answer the questions, because I'm that guy that does that. That's the best way. Or you can go to our website. We have a website, it's roofersinrecovery.com. And you can reach us on there as well. And that's also where you can go to donate. So we obviously are always accepting donations. And I hate to be that guy that has to solicit, but we can't send people to treatment for free. And so if anybody wants to help and donate on a larger scale, that's where you go and give us a call and we'll get it lined up.
Well, I'm going to put a challenge out there to everybody. I'm going to donate $500 to this Top Rep giveaway. And I'm going to put it in, but I cannot win the grill. All right. So that's the deal. $500 in, I cannot win the grill. But I wanted to make sure that we help out as well. And so there's the challenge. I'm going to throw out the gauntlet to everybody. Whether it's $20, it's $100, it's $500, or whatever you feel like you want to donate to this. And think of it this way. And one of the reasons I did that is I've never had a problem. I haven't walked in your shoes. I don't know that, but I know the effects of it because of situations in my family. And I know what that does to families. And so if there's a way I can help, I want to step up and do so.
Thank you, sir.
I also noticed on your website.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, man. That's my pleasure and my honor. I noticed on the website, I'm going to throw Paul out of the bus here. Paul's got like a cell number on there. Like Paul's number right here. Because I have a feeling there might be a few guys out there that go, man, I don't know if I want to be in a meeting with a bunch of people first. Like, I just like to talk to somebody. Paul, kudos to you, man. I don't know how you do it. Like, my phone blows up on a daily basis all day long, just with what I do, and add on top of that something else. That's really cool of you. And I think that way you can cover the bases of what people are looking for and what their needs are.
We do all answer the phone when people call.
Yeah,
absolutely. Like even if you send a Facebook message and say, "Hey man, can I give you a call?" We absolutely all give out our phone number. Paul's just a little more public about it than maybe I am.
You guys that are listening, you guys that are listening to me, just text me if you want Eric's number, and I'll just share it.
God, I'm gonna be changing my number tomorrow.
Boy, I'll put him on one of those Craigslist ads out there.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you very much for being on today. Is there anything else that you want to share about roofers and recovery and how it can help people? Do you think we covered the bases?
I'll say this, and I'll say this kind of in closing. We did touch on it. The way that we started the roofers and recovery, to be honest with you, it was like I said, a phone call, me and Eric talking back and forth. We thought it would be real easy, to just start a foundation, and Eric and I and Jonathan actually seeded the foundation to begin with. We all put in a substantial amount of money, to start it, and come to find out, it's not easy having a 501c3. I mean, there's rules and regulations, and it's very, very difficult. So, over the last year, my wife Kim has been a huge driving force with us, keeping us straight, and we've got a couple other admins, that keep us lined up. But again, like Eric, I hate soliciting for money, but we started, we all continue to put money into it. It's not cheap to put someone into rehab. We put in 3 days, and so we rely on donations, through the industry on there. You guys, Jim, you've been a huge supporter of us, getting us out there. Nathan, he was awesome. He wrote us a personal check, and I wanted to give you guys kudos for not only, putting it out there, but actually standing behind us and doing what you say, because unfortunately there's a lot of guys in the industry that throw out something and it never happens. And so I wanted to congratulate you. Thank you. Nathan, thank you. Actually, we were talking about you the other day. Excited to see you tomorrow. But man, we're always looking for money, because we put guys in, and we got a very good deal with the rehab center, but it's still very expensive.
Uh-oh, we lost audio.
Oh, Paul, you turned into Jonathan.
Oh, you turned into Jonathan for a second. I had no idea that Nathan had.
Can you got now?
Yeah, we got you. Yeah, we got you.
Sorry about that. I was getting a call. But yeah, so that's what we're always doing, and it goes to a good cause. The guys, I mean, it does. It changes lives, and it puts families back together. It does. When guys get in this program and they start doing the work, and we don't just put them in for 30 days. We also mentor them for the next however long they want, that they need. So it's not just 30 days. We never talk to them again. We literally talk to guys on a daily basis. So any help is appreciative. Jim, thank you for your help and get out there. I'm going to match your $500 on there today, and
Eric's on the
phone. No, I mean, I'm matching. I mean, yeah, shit. Let's double it. Let's go.
Nathan just said he's going to throw in another $500. So
there we go. All right. So now we got $2,000. Yeah. So here's a suggestion. This is what we did. This is what we did at a different place. Just start calling out people on Facebook and tagging them, and shame them into helping. So I've got no problem doing that. I'd also like to point out that the unders won. So just an FYI.
Hey, you were under. No, you had one. You did say
no. That was before the broadcast. That doesn't count.
You said it during the broadcast. You said the
good one. Yeah, well, that's still under. It's still under. It's still under.
But you were under. I had a over under of how many curse words Eric was going to use during the broadcast today.
7. That's excessive. I mean, that just seems like I can't control myself.
You have room for 5 more.
Yeah, I'm good. It'd be disingenuous if I didn't slip 1 in, because then everybody know I was just full of shit. 3. There you go.
That's great. So who are we going to call? Anybody going to call out somebody, or are you just going to say that and not call out somebody?
We'll have to think about that, because we did that before. We got a lot of donations that way. So
could I call out Pete Smith?
You could, but he's been very generous.
Okay, so not
Pate's been very generous. He gave us a couple grand, I think, a couple months ago, didn't he, Paul?
Yeah, he did.
Well, we could always go the route of Zach Mosley or James McClinney or any of those.
I don't think I've gotten any money from Zach.
Yeah. Zach hasn't done
that. Yeah. And James isn't on Facebook, so I can't tag him. But Zach, I'll call out Zach Mosley. Yeah, absolutely.
So my administrative guru is over here putting in all of y'all's information, how to get a hold of you. He's got your pages on there, all that good stuff. That's my son Braden. He's one of our folks here, and he does an amazing job of that. He's been listening in the whole time. So awesome. David Summerly calls out Derek Ford, and I call out David Summerly for calling out Derek Ford. How's that?
Perfect.
Matt Nez. Okay, so we got people getting called out. All right, perfect. Feel free to go in and comment.
I'm gonna call out the Restore Masters.
Restore Masters getting a call out. How about Justin Cox?
Matt Irvin, Justin Reichel.
Oh, Matt Irvin, Justin Reichel. Justin Cox, Aaron Christie, a couple good ones. I think those guys could probably help out a little bit. Now that we've thrown everybody under the bus, let's see how
Love it.
Hey, I don't care which way you donate, whether you go to the site and donate directly there, or you go to toprepgiveaway.com and enter in the raffle to win a free Traeger grill.
Well, do both.
Do both. Yeah, there you go.
Do both. I mean, come on. You're running roofing companies. You got $500.
No wonder Eric can sell roofing. He's like, hey, do it, man. Good grief. Call you out in front of everybody, in front of your neighbors.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Hey, it's been a lot of fun. I really appreciate your time today. I know taking 45 minutes out for either one of you is a big deal. I can't wait to see you both. I'm going to see Eric on Thursday.
Yep.
Paul tomorrow, right? I hope it's sometime.
Yep.
All right, cool. Let's go to our cat and raise some funds for roofers in recovery and make this industry a better place. It's better if you lift each other up. That's just the way I look at it. So
yeah, and I guess we didn't talk about that. Roofers in Recovery is going to be at RCAT. So if anybody's going to RCAT, come say hi. You don't have to be scared to come by the booth because it's like they're going to make me stop drinking. Just come by the booth and say hi. Like we don't give a shit. That's 4 or 5. I'm still going to go over. Damn it. 7, 6. All right, I'm going to stop now.
You're getting close now. You're getting close. All right. Hey, guys, blast having you on today. I'll let you go, and I'll close here for just a couple of minutes. Thanks a lot, and can't wait to see you. All right. All right, guys, that was the rock stars at Roofers in Recovery. I always have such an enjoyable time talking with them. I like the way they approach things. It's just a conversation. And that conversation is something that can easily be had with any of them as mentors in business or mentors in life. If you have a substance abuse issue, reach out, man. Seriously. It's a simple phone call. It is difficult to say you're vulnerable, but that first step can sometimes make a massive difference, not only in your life, but in the life of those around you. Thanks for hanging out on Contractor Radio today. We appreciate you. Hope you continue to follow us. If you like what we're doing, make sure you like our Facebook page, subscribe to our podcast, download these podcasts, and keep supporting what we do. We're here to help you guys get better at what you do and empower you to believe in yourselves that you're capable and have the capacity to lead great businesses. We'll talk to you later.